Welcome back to another episode of the Pickle Pulse. I am your host, Brian Green, and with me, I have Mr. David Richardson.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. And we got Brad Barker in the house, too.
Again.
But hey, we love Brad, and every time it's fun. So before we get started, I wanted to hit a couple of quick things. And the first is I know that 87% of the people that watch this awesome pod are not subscribed. So if you could take a quick moment, just hit that little subscribe button, and it would really mean a lot to me as we are a small channel growing every day. The second thing is ADV Pickleball bags. They are the best bags in the game, and right now you can get the best deal on them if you use my code, which I'll put right here on the screen. And then finally, I said 2, but there's going to be 3. The third is we've got some brand new t-shirts. I don't have them with me because I failed. But if you're interested in an awesome Pickle Pulse t-shirt, hit me up on Instagram. You can find me right here. I'll put it up on the screen again. And very good. Thank you, guys. Looking forward to hearing from all of you. Now, let's get into what we want to talk about today. And that is the girls last week sat down and they talked all about partnerships, about what they look for in partners, how they find partners, pet peeves, et cetera, et cetera. And we wanted to give a male take on that same one. So I reached out to some of the baddest guys in pickleball, thus Dave showing up, and then I called Brad.
Yeah. I was playing F.
But we've been talking to a lot of people. I know we all have strong opinions out there on, what we look for and how we go about finding good partners. So I just wanted to throw it out to you. And let's have Dave, since you're fresh on the pod today. So when you're looking for a new partner, or when you're originally looking for the partners that you play with now, what are some of the traits that they had that you really like? And then maybe what are like some of the things that you wish your partners might have as well?
Yeah. So first of all, it's an honor to be here.
Yes.
And I think we need to shout out the 13% of people that are subscribed.
That's glass half full, Dave.
I'm one of those people. So if you're part of the 13%, that may be the only requirement to get you on this podcast.
That's correct. You never know when you'll get the call.
But as far as what I look for in a partner, obviously, number one is skill set. Are they going to be able to compete at the level that you're looking to compete at? But if that's on a level playing field, that they're ready to compete at that level. After that, for me, number one is positivity. I really like to make sure that they're going to be able to be positive. And because for me, and I'll talk about this, I'm sure, as we go along, like my wife and I have done the test when it comes to love languages.
Okay.
Right. And for me, the most important thing is words of affirmation. That's my love language. So having a partner, you can relate on that. Mm-hmm. Having a partner that's going to be positive with me and be able to, find ways of keeping me positive. If I miss a few shots and they're able to, hey, some of the partners that I played with multiple times, they know this about me. I'll shout out Christina Shiflett right now. We've gone over this several times, like love languages and things that really make us tick. And so on the court, she knows that if I miss a couple of shots, she just has to give me a compliment.
Yeah.
And it's a lighthearted way to get me back to baseline.
I like it. And I'm also words of affirmation, but my second one is touch. And I just want to take that off the table for all my partners. So yeah, keep your hands to yourself.
Good job. A little punch in the arm.
That little ass slap at the end. It's cool. Just don't cup.
It's hilarious.
What about you, Brad? What do you look for in a partner, man?
I would agree with David. But I'm looking for competitive nature out of somebody. And that can be interpreted many ways, because some people are very competitive, but then when they're down, they're kind of out, But I just want somebody who comes into a match fired up. You're going to be able to tell. I mean, they may get emotional out there. I don't care what it is, as long as they're dialed in when we come out there, and I can see that they're giving it everything on every single shot.
So you're saying a guy who's as fired up as like Arpit per se is okay with you, but a guy that plays like J.W. Johnson, you're also okay with. So really, like the way your partner is acting doesn't affect you much.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I just don't want them to go flat on me. Because I mean, you can be down 10-1 and still have a chance. But I've played with some people where they're almost defeated before they even step onto the court.
Yeah.
And I mean, at that point, it takes the wind out of your sails, and I buy into it at that point. Like, we don't have a chance. If you don't think we have a chance, then we definitely don't have a chance.
Yeah. No, I get that.
So I can take them fired up or quiet, because I'm going to be whatever I am, because sometimes I'm super pumped, and sometimes I'm just like tunnel vision, locked in. I've picked what like, hey, we're dropping backhand, and then we just want to point on that. I am only focused on I'm going to that backhand, and I won't even make eye contact with my partner. I just walk right back there. Let's just keep doing it.
Dude, it's so interesting to hear you say that, because I am personally affected by my partner, and I know it. And so like when I play, like I've played with Lenny, when things are going well, it's super hype. And I've played with Arpit, and same thing, super hype. And it's too much for me, is what I've found. Because, like, number one, I go into a match already Red Bulled up. So I can't get overly hype. Otherwise, things start to fall apart, and I can't think. And also, I have this mindset, and it's weird. And tell me if it's wrong, but I have this mindset of basically act like you've been there. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, like, I want to be pumped and give a fist pump or a yeah, but then walk back to the baseline and let's go about and win the next point. And sometimes when it just gets over the top, I get a little weirded out in the head. Like,
what's a lot of pressure too, right? I mean,
but I've had the same thing on the other side, where I've played with a guy that's just like so sulky after bad shots, and we're playing pickleball.
Right.
And there's going to be 50% good shots and 50% bad shots. Maybe if you're playing really well, 60-40, but we all hit a lot of shots we're not proud of during a game. And one of the things I've been working on is just not freaking out when you hit those and moving on. Same thing with like in my golf game, it's focusing on each hole. Like you make a double bogey the hole before, don't let that trickle into the next one. And when I play competitive golf, that was one of the hardest things I had to deal with, is like the mental aspects of the game.
Right.
Do you feel that way, Dave?
Yeah. I was actually going to ask you, Brian, before I answer that question, is you brought up intensity, right? And how certain partners, Brad, you brought up too, like thrive off intensity. I mean, I know when I've played with Arpit, who is already mentioned on this podcast. He mentioned to me in the first game we were playing in this tournament, he's like, I need more energy from you. I'm like, Arpit, we're 3 points into this match. Let's settle in.
That's so high.
But then there's other players that, that's intimidating. So where do you rank intensity as far as like importance for you picking a partner? Is that one of the first qualifications you're finding, somebody who matches your level?
That's a great question. And I didn't really get into what I personally look for, but for me, I need someone. The first thing I always look for is someone that I feel is as good or better than me when we're going out. Okay. I don't want to feel like I have to go into the match carrying the two of us. It's just too much pressure to put on. And then I feel like I signed up for a tournament either at the wrong level or with the wrong partner. Right. So someone that's close to level. And then the other thing is someone that complements my style of play. So I like to drive first and drop second. I was listening to a pod today that says that just means that I'm not comfortable with my drop. And that might be true. And I am working on it, and it's dialed at times, but I always like to drive first. I think it creates a lot. And I've even had some players that are at higher levels that I respect greatly say, hey, you're your best when you're coming after it. And I say, okay. So I've bought into that a bit. But I need a player then who knows how to shake and bake. And I'll shout out G. He's my favorite guy to play with, and we play a lot of tournaments together. And it's because he can watch the return and know what I'm going to do. And so if it's high, he knows it's banging. And he's on the net, and he's usually there to take care of business. And then if it gets crazy, then that's a fun point for me because that's what I want anyway. It's just chaos. So a guy that compliments me really well. And I would say with the females, are we just talking men's right now or gender? Or are we talking mixed as well? Because
just let it flow where it flows, I guess.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. Because I would say females, it's very different in that in a mixed match, I want to walk in and cover minimally 60% of the court, probably a little more than that. And I need a female that knows that is consistent in resets on the right side, right? And can dink. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing, and when I play with people, if the ball is floating high on a third and I'm already at the net, that is mine. Even if it's halfway over into your area, I'm going to step over and take it and know that I'm going to get back and cover. You don't need to switch with me, So those are like two little mix rules that I find have been effective for me when I play. And that's kind of what I look for there.
Well, let me real quick, because Shiflet is powerful. Do you guys ever have that power struggle over that put away? Because I mean, she has an exceptional put away ball.
Yeah, no, that brings up another great point about adaptability, right? With traditionally with mixed partnerships, the male is going to take more of the middle of the court, more of the court, all over the place. He's going to take more shots when he has the opportunity, be more aggressive. But oftentimes that's because the male would have a better chance of putting a ball away, like a high ball. He's going to get more power. If I'm playing with Christina Shiflet, mm-hmm. right, I'm not going to run in front of her and take away one of her backhand putaways.
Yeah.
I mean, she can put that away at the same pace, if not more pace than me. And there's several of the females, especially locally, Sarah Hua. I would never jump in front of her, right?
No.
So I think it's about adapting.
No, when I play with Sarah, it's 40% Brian, 60% Sarah. She knows it.
I think that would be the same for all of us.
All of us, yeah, maybe 80-20 for me. But yeah, no, that's interesting because when I'm playing with somebody, I try to think about what I think they're good at. Let's start with mixed. I'll be like, okay, she's really good at dinking, not so good with speed ups. So I will try and slow the game down, hit a drop, probably hit more resets instead of trying to turn up as fast. For Christy, that's who I started playing mixed with. She says, let me cook. Mm-hmm. That means get her in position to cross court dink. And she's like, I will whittle them down. Mm-hmm. So when we were playing together in the beginning, that was the mission, was to get that drop, get it into the kitchen to where we could get them exchanging. And then either she would outlast them, or if she creates something a pop up, I may come over and grab it in the middle if I'm capable, or she'll finish it.
Dude, it's so funny to hear you say that because your strategy in mixed is the exact opposite of mine.
Right, you're going for it. Well, right?
It's just it goes back to something that I think the girls didn't talk about, because this is clearly going to be the better pod of the two of them. Which is know yourself, right?
Yeah.
Know what you're good at. And if you ask me to come in and drop and get to the kitchen line, I don't know if it's going to be a great day for us. It might. Maybe they'll be dialed that day. But when I play mixed, I want the thirds because I want to hit a smashing drive at the girl to see how she handles it, right? And that's always my first is and if she's popping it up, we're driving and crashing until she figures it out.
Right, yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
For the most part, if you hit a good drive, the guy's not going to be able to step over in front. Right. So that's kind of my initial strategy where you're like, let's just get up there.
Well, it also sounds like you're catering the game to your skill set versus your partner's skill set.
Well, that
because
is true.
You're the male. So like last week we talked about whose role is more valuable. We said, is the female more valuable in mixed or the male? And so, and that may change as levels change too. Like at the lower level, I don't mean lower, but at the 4-0 area and below, the male may be more important because of the pressure that we can apply, and they haven't developed the skills to be able to block efficiently, versus when you get to that 4-5, 5-0 level, when you're going against Monica Lynn, Sarah Hua, and all these other outstanding females that when you drive, they make you pay for that drive.
Well, and I think we need to preface that in that, like, I'll say my duper is like a 4.8 right now. You're like a 4.6, 7 somewhere in there.
Actually, I got 5.
Whoa. 5.0. Take a picture of it, baby.
Oh,
dude. You
dude.
gotta be like, what, a 5.3 then?
No, I think a 5.0.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like 5.0 and kind of our mindset on the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I think Dave's answer might be different too, because you're getting better mixed partners than I am currently. And that the girls I'm playing with, I'm trying to bring up, and or like, Michelle and I, we're going to play together at the PPA. And I think it's a good match because we're very similar in skill. And so, but if you're getting that better girl, know yourself, know that she's better, right? You don't take Christina Shiflett's balls. She hits it harder than all of us. It's like, come on.
Yeah.
Anything else to add to that one?
No. I mean, I agree. You have to know what their skill set is, but like when you're going into the open and the 5.0s, like there's a select few girls around here, that are holding it down, which I brought up the conversation. I don't know if that's part of your list or not, but I had sat down with Sarah Hua one day, and I was we were at dinner, and I said, you pretty much are going to win mixed. No one can really challenge you. So if a male wants to play with you bad enough, well, why don't you just tell them that, yeah, sure, I'll play with you. But if we win, I take 70% and you get 30%.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear what Dave has to say on this one.
and of course, Sarah was just like, no way, I would never say that. And I'm just like, well, you can hire me and I'll do it for you.
I think it's an interesting scenario, but it's somewhat implausible in that Sarah's not going to play with a guy unless he's like a 5'8" or a 6'0" or at least a 5'5".
But it's not even that. Like, I mean, they can be a 5'0", but if she doesn't like almost feel for sure that she's going to win that tournament, she's not going to play with you. Like Colin, I don't know. I mean, his duper is low, but we all know that his duper is way higher. He just doesn't get a lot of exposure to tournaments.
Yeah.
But she's just like, yeah, it's got to be Colin. Like, even LJ. LJ's a beast. And she's just like, oh, we just don't mesh well. And I'm just like, oh, my God. I said, no chance. Because LJ is mopping the floor with everybody, So
what's your take there, Dave?
No, I think you might be on to this whole pickleball pre-tournament prenup.
Sign here on the dotted line, sir.
Right. I'll take 70%. You get 30%.
Well, who is more valuable at the higher level
in mixed doubles?
And mixed. What's your take? Who do you think?
Man, I don't know if I can give that answer. Like, really, it's hard to tell. Every match is a little bit different.
No,
and
we're
every
not
matchup
paying you
is
the
different.
big bucks to be politically correct here, Dave.
I mean, it still comes down. I think the more valuable player is still mixed. Like it's the female side of mixed. Just numerically, right? The amount of 5'0" to 6'0" females in the air is always going to be less than males. So you would assume that the male playing with the female in 5'0" or 5'0" plus is going to be able to do all the stereotypical things that they need to do at that level. Like finding the amount of females that are doing it at that level is just less.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
So it's funny. You guys feel exactly the same way because of scarcity.
Yeah.
And so I would agree with you there.
Yeah.
But I do think at the highest levels, and we get into the pro game, that the male dictates more of the match.
I would agree.
So, I mean, you put Colin Johns with Anna Lee. Do they win? Maybe, because it's Anna Lee. All right, we put the best lady in the world, but I mean, Colin is not going to carry the team like Ben carries a team. Put Ben with any of the top 15 girls, and he's got a shot to win the whole thing.
That's true. Yeah. The male at that level, the pressure that they can apply.
Yep.
That's what it is.
So now that we've agreed upon that, let's go down to the 5'0" level again, because actually I wanted to stir it up a little bit. And that I also believe at the 5'0" level, the male is still the more important person because of the ability to apply pressure. So I think that the girl will get more touches if the man is not doing his job very well. And yes, there are going to be some heavy dink battles back and forth because that's part of mixed, right to right. But the guy has to be able to insert himself in there at the same time to finish the point or do something to create something different, unless she just dinks so well that she's getting pop-ups every other dink. But that doesn't really happen in 5-0. Do you guys disagree?
I think I do. I think when I'm looking at who's signed up for a tournament, when I look at men's draw, I'm looking at men's draw. Right? When I look at mixed, I look at the female partner generally first.
Really?
Like that's how I judge. Like, oh, Monica Lynn is with this player, or like, I'm looking at the female partner because if you have a really strong male partner and a female partner that wouldn't be, doesn't like drives getting smashed at her, right? Then that opens the door.
Okay, throw this one out to you. So you and Christina Shiflett are playing, and then it is me and Monica Lynn on the other side. So I feel like it evens everything out fairly well, but at the same time, you guys still might have the advantage because I feel like you could control the points a little better, potentially, unless Monica just really takes over and plays that 64, which she could.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I always do these like matchup things, and I think it's all nuanced in who shows up that day.
Right.
But at the same time, we can agree to disagree. And all the people out there listening, chime in. Let us know what you think. Who is more important in mixed? Because I would love to hear your take. There's no one way to play pickleball right now. The game is still evolving. It's still young. And it's one of the reasons that I'm so excited about it, because every time I show up, you never know what's going to happen. And, let me know what you think. And I love being wrong. I believe you me, I've been wrong on a lot of pods. Right, Brad?
Well, yeah. But you do, he'll put it on the bottom and let you know, like when he's been
that's right.
proven the other way. But I also want to talk about, and because I feel like there's this format in mixed that everyone follows: male left, woman on the right. And I'm like constantly telling Christy, because I mean, she's playing at a higher level than I am, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, you guys need to start trying to break the mold. I really like the reverse stack. You have to see how your female stacks up against the other female, and stop going into matches thinking we have to follow this mold. Because if you feel like your female has the hands advantage, I like them being in front.
So
and
you
that
like
way,
speed up in front.
Well, because then the cross, she's not worried about the male attacking her from, coming across the middle and trying to grab it. And the cross court will now go my direction. So I will tell my female, like, you keep that ball on her the entire time, and if she comes to me, then I'm going to do my best to try and speed up at her, and we're going to, and that's just a lot of pressure. And I've told Christy that a lot, but the one that I noticed that does it a lot, very high level, Kirsten. Kirsten is, she's just smooth.
Yeah.
Period. But she can change the game when she goes over to the dominant side. And she'll puppet master you a little bit, and then she hits that inside forehand, and it doesn't matter who's in front of her, but she can do it, you know. And so that's why I like, and I brought it up to her because she was one of the main ones I see switching it up, and I was just like, I agree with that. And she said that she thinks the game is going to start moving in that direction.
Dude, that is a hot take.
Yeah. Well, you got to look at the matchups. You know what I mean? I mean, maybe it'll always stay that, male left, woman right. But, I like sometimes just having woman in front of woman and letting them go at it, cat fight it out.
I think that's totally fair, as long as you're not asking your female player to do something she's not comfortable.
Right.
Really?
That's true.
And
yeah.
So again, know your own game, know your partner's game, and, communicate.
Right.
But even what Brad is explaining, I think, is one of the main qualities of a fantastic partner, is that in the heat of the moment, in a tournament, to be cognizant enough and aware enough to be like, this isn't working right now. There may be an opportunity if we backward stack, right? Not a lot of people are able to put the moment to the side and be able to think logically and strategically in that moment.
Yep.
So I think that's one of the other qualities of having elite partnerships and great partners is somebody who's able to take that moment and say, hey, let's try something else.
Dude, mental toughness is one of the most difficult things to master, to control, it has been my fight in sports my whole life, is like believing you can, walking into the match, and then like when things are going wrong, being able to stay even kill and move forward and still play your best, right? It's tough. And looking for the guy, I would agree, it's one of the most important things in a partner, or at least someone that will know you and be helpful in that versus like storming off like you suck. Thank God I haven't had that yet. Not yet.
I mean, I've definitely have witnessed those meltdowns, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm not putting any names out there, but his name has been mentioned on here plenty of times. But I watched them in a gold medal match, and they are on the winner's side, and up in the first game, I want to say like 8-2, and a ref calls a ball out on the team that was up, and I watched a complete meltdown.
Oh, no.
And I watched them lose that match. And then I watched them go into the second one and lose like 11-1.
Oh, wow.
And then I watched them go to the game of 15, and I watched them lose like 15-3.
Wow.
And they were
Just lost it. They were done. They didn't want to be there anymore.
yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah. So it was, you got to have that mental toughness. You got to put it behind you and move on. But yeah.
All right. Well, I like it. I think that sums up the partner stuff really well. Little more of a high level take on it. I think in the lower levels, play with everyone. You know, if people are asking you, then that's good. So you're not constantly looking. Play with them, see how it works. Try a tournament. You know, in the end, pickleball is a very friendly game. We're a community, and as you're growing in your levels, I think meeting more people, playing against lots of different people will help your game. So don't just turn people away. I would say be open to playing with people for a tournament, as long as they're not like, I think a half point differential is kind of where it's a no-go. Like, I'm not going to play with a 4-0 girl, right? I just don't think it would put it in a good situation. So maybe look at their duper, and as long as they're within a half, give them a shot.
Yeah, I just want to add that the most underrated skill in all of pickleball is emotional intelligence. Like, and whether it's pickleball or in any facet of life, you're humans dealing with humans, right? So it's still a relationship, right? Mm-hmm. People who are good at relationships outside of sports will be good at relationships inside of sports. Be able to communicate, be able to work with another person when you're upset, when they're upset, to be able to deal with that. So.
Oh, good thing Christy's not here right now. We're not on the mic, we'll say.
Nice. I was wondering where you were going with that, because Christy's looking at us right now.
Smiling at me. Yeah, that is very true. That's a good point.
All right,
for
so
sure.
let's change gears a little bit, because I remember distinctly. So my pickleball story was that I played with guys in my neighborhood, and then I reached out to Tom Fortier. He was the local pickleball ambassador.
Love Tom.
He freaking hooked me up with some guys at Autumn Woods, and I started playing over there. And then I started meeting lots of people, so the games went all over the place. But where I was going to go is, how do you get into better games? Because as a pickleballer, you're constantly looking. So I'll tell them myself, if Dave were to call me, or McNally, or anyone that's a 5 or above, I guess I got to put Barker in there now.
Duper it. Check me out.
But anybody that's a 5-0 that's reaching out to me, I'm super excited to play that game, because I know that I'm going to get what I would call really high-level quality rec games, right? Guys that are going to beat me pretty consistently probably, and I'm going to learn a lot about myself and my game. Is it fun to walk away getting my ass kicked? No. But at the same time, I know, okay, I need to work on this, and I'll hang with them better next time. And have a good attitude, and hopefully keep the ball in play enough where you guys are not bored, right? And then you get invited back again for that high-level game. But when I was coming up, finding players to play with is tough. How did you guys go about getting to better games, finding different people, et cetera, and then also fitting in with those groups, right? Because that's a big deal too.
Do you want me to go? I'll go.
Yeah, go for it.
Well, we're kind of ahead of the wave. I feel, Christy and I got in right around COVID. And I mean, like at that point, Chestnut Forks is not even a thing yet. So we basically, it was just our friends. I forget what neighborhood that is that I met you at. Denny was the one that introduced it, where you had to go through the guard shack to get in. Justin Rainey.
Oh yeah. Fawn Lake.
So I got an invite. That's how it started, and that's probably how it's going to start. Instead of begging my way in, I got an invite, and I made sure I showed up.
Stop
played
right
the
there.
best I could.
Stop right there, Brad. Begging your way in never works. Okay, it
No.
never works.
No,
it only
if
makes you
anything-
look really pathetic.
Right. If anything, you're avoided. Like,
Brad can be pretty convincing.
Oh, but please.
I'll bring you dinner. But yeah, so that's when I first met David. But so we're kind of a close group, but and same thing with David McNally. He's the Fredericksburg crew, so we all played together. But so my path's been a little different because then you had the Eli who came in. And he was the young stud that just comes in. You're like, oh wow. And I mean, at that point, it was just simply I messaged him on Instagram hey, you trying to come out to the court and play? And he'd come out on weekends and play with us. Now, good luck. I've been blown away. Maybe a duper's got me messed up, but I don't think I'm a 5-0. But I can't get into games with those guys or Monica and all them. They're locked in, so it's very difficult. So, and what'll happen if I'm lucky, maybe one day they'll hit me up and they'll need somebody, and that's, or you just happen to bounce into them with your crew at some courts.
Dude, it happened to me 5 months ago where they needed one. They were playing at Stonewall. I got to play with Monica and James, myself, and Eli, and it was just so much fun, epic group. But yeah, I was just blessed to be there, right?
That's it, yeah.
And I felt good to be there. How about you, Dave, man? How have you always found better? It sounds like Brad had everybody come to him.
No, prehistoric. Just I'm before the wave of good kids came around.
Yeah, I think the very first time I met Brad and Christy was at Chestnut. Maybe Fawn Lake was after that, but
Could be.
all I remember is you guys were going on a cruise. It's the first time I met you. Hey,
we were going to Mexico for a pickleball vacation thing.
And
yeah.
I was like, there's what type of vacations?
Yeah.
It's that's incredible.
Yeah.
So, but that was my first time at Chestnut. So predating that, and I think you've mentioned on this podcast how Chestnut is kind of a meeting place for higher level play. And so I was lucky that I had the McNallys and Brian Hasty that kind of showed me the ropes down in Fredericksburg. And so I think they saw hey, this guy he might be able to move quickly and join our group. And you brought up scarcity too, right? In Fredericksburg at the time, especially, there wasn't a tremendous amount of higher level play. People are having to travel a long way to get good play. So for somebody to be local that has the potential to make his way up, I think they noticed that pretty quickly. So I just got lucky at that.
You had the
time.
McNally brothers looking for a friend.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Exactly.
And quick shout out to Tommy, because a lot of you guys may not know Tommy out there, but he threw us our bone and really helped us elevate our game. Because Tommy was
him, big tall guy.
Yeah, he was a top dog. He was playing with Alex in all the tournaments. Do
we know what happened to him?
Yeah, he moved. I mean, he's in the military, so he moved away, and now he moved. I forget where it was. Christy would know. Go ahead, shout it out. Yeah, so you didn't answer the question, but
He's in Florida now. For the
he's
people
in
that didn't
Florida
hear
now.
that.
But anyways, Bahrain, yeah,
That's right.
But he was always playing in those high level games at Chestnut Forks with Colin, Liz, Jay Hall, who was real big at that point.
Gizmo.
Sam, Gizmo, yeah,
Jimbo,
yeah.
Damn, y'all had a really good crew that
And
come together.
Tommy reached out to us and became part of our regular crew and beat up on us and didn't mind doing it on a regular basis. And we just got sharper and sharper from playing with someone like that. that, you know, and it helped out. So I mean, we were blessed, you know. I think that's kind of rare to have someone that's high level that's just was like, I'm gonna build you guys, and that's what he did.
Yeah, and you know, every single person who's at a high level at pickleball has at one point had to try and shoot above their weight, right? Try and get in with the better group. So for those of you in the audience who think you're too good to let people in, like it's good to remember that you were in that place at some point too.
Absolutely.
Very true.
I mean, we've talked about the Chestnut Forks no look. It's a real deal. But the interesting thing is, so as I was coming up, I'll never forget Jeremy Lasich, who lives in the neighborhood here and great pickleballer. And he's like, man, I'm going out to Chestnut Forks tonight. There's super high level play out there. And I was like, sweet. And he's like, do you want to go? And I was like, you think I could? And he's like, yeah, I'll bring you. And so he was invited. I wasn't. But at the same time, nobody flinched. But I learned about the no look that night. And basically you just have to walk away and not be mad and know that like everybody's trying to get better. And they're looking for the games. And when the opportunities arise, you smile and you jump in and you do your absolute best.
That's it.
And people will remember you for that. And then as you get better, maybe the next time you get 8 points on them versus 5 or 5 points versus 3, right? And they go, he's getting a little better. Okay, good. And eventually you work your way into it. And now I go out to Chestnut Forks and I'm not the best player by long shot, but I don't have a problem getting games for the most part. And it's also because I'm not walking up to Colin and Broker and those guys trying to get in their game when they're practicing at the 6-0 level. You know, it's like, know your role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, self-awareness and relationships in pickleball, relationships other places, right? I was watching one of those like YouTube shorts, and I think it was Jordan Peterson. I don't want to say that's not my normal content, but
I don't mind Jordan. I think he has moments.
But exactly. So he was mentioning something about like when you're raising kids, one of the most important things you can do is to make sure that other kids like playing with your kid, right? So that then other kids will constantly be playing with them, and then adults will see that and they'll want to teach them, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the idea, is having a likable, teachable child that can then be able to interact with all sorts of different people and be influenced by other people. So I think the concept is similar in pickleball, right? Mm-hmm. You want to be likable too. Like you want to be likable, self-aware, and hey, if you know that you're playing in a game that's above your weight, like, hey, own it. Mm-hmm. Say, you know, maybe I'm not there yet, but what do I need to work on? Give me the pointers. Like, what do I need to work on so that the next time you need a person, you're calling me up?
Well, and even furthermore, I would say that don't be mad at yourself after you play with the better players, because what's going to happen is the first time you get into a higher level game, and it happens for everyone. And even now, like if I were jumping in with the 5-5, the game just seems faster, right? The balls come faster. They're more accurately placed. You know, there's less opportunity to make a mistake without getting murdered for it. Mm-hmm. So you learn things, and as you play in those games and you get better, it slows down for you a little bit at each level. So don't get mad the first time. Just keep working. You'll get better. Mm-hmm. And, you know, be a nice guy and people will invite you back.
Agreed.
Nice. All right. Last little one, and that is pet peeves of partners without them being a total asshole, right? Everybody's pet peeve is an asshole. So do you guys have any like nuanced pet peeves or things that you just don't like your partners to do?
In a tournament, and I've been guilty of it, but also on the receiving end, I don't like to be coached in the moment, right? And
Number
I think
one,
that's
ding, ding.
the first thing that's going to get mentioned. I don't like when my partner puts me in an awkward situation as far as like if they made a bad line call, right? Like, and if that's consistent in any way, and then you're like,
I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, the line call thing's important.
It's awkward.
Yeah, especially when you can clearly see it and you're like, I don't want to go against my guy, but
yeah,
really?
Then it puts your integrity on the line. And then,
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's the worst. And then most definitely you're going to dump the ball in the net the next time if you let them get away with it, because you're feeling guilty. You're standing there still dwelling on it.
Yeah.
And I've had that moment where I've played with a guy and I'm like, I know it was in. I should say something, but I want this guy to like me, so I'm going to let it go. And then then I start playing like shit. and immediately because I'm mental over it.
Right.
Don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
So that's a good nugget.
Yeah, I think those are the big ones. Like, don't get too high, too low, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that all range of emotions are possible and very human on the pickleball court. But yeah, if you're so intense, it's kind of scary, or like so down that you can't bring them back up. That's tough. But
Yeah, I think I heard you talking. You reached out to, was it Alex this week too?
Yeah,
and she had a really good nugget that I'd like for you to share, because that is one that that I highly agree with.
so this is a long message. Do you want to specify?
I mean,
what
can
want?
you just the part about where stick to the game plan?
Yeah. So that was straight to the point. When I asked her, I said, "What are partner pet peeves?" She said, "When they deter from the game plan that we set."
Yeah.
Right. So if you come in with a game plan, don't
So
abandon it.
It's like 3 points in, and you're talking about dropping and getting to the kitchen line, and now your partner's just driving away.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, didn't we talk about this? And you almost need to call a timeout and go, hey, we on the same page still? And it's and keep driving after we've talked about this isn't what we're gonna do. Then yeah, it's tough to want to play with that person again. No, it's really good, really good. You ever had that situation, Brad? Never? No. You played a tournament with me, man.
I think the only thing that bothers me is when like you're in the middle of a rally, and I tend when I'm playing, I'm on one end of the spectrum or the other, and it's like I'm either super aggressive or I'm super passive. But what I don't like is like in the middle of a rally, and they're like attack that or hit, you know what I mean? Like
oh, wow.
In the middle of it, and at that point, if I'm not going to attack and I attack it and I mess it up, I'm just like, just let me focus on what, if it's up here and it's a green ball and I should hit a roll, but I don't feel like the person in front of me is vulnerable for it, then I'm probably going to slice it back and take it back and keep waiting for my opportunity. But I've played with people where they're just like, like attack it, go, go like that. And I'm just like, come on, man. Like come on. I feel like I can feel this person. I don't just want to speed up, have them counter real fast, point over. Okay, well, we did a speed up, so there we go. That's what we're doing. Like, no, I'd rather just let whoever's cooking, as Christy would say, let them cook and do what feels right to them at that point. So that's my peeve. Is like it's coaching, but like basically trying to tell you how to take us, like urging you to do a shot in the middle of a rally and like breaking your focus. Like nothing's the worst to me.
Well, and I'll close this out with my last little thing is exactly what you started with, Dave, and that is I've played with a partner before when things get bad and they just kind of walk away and or they're not there, as opposed to going, hey Brian, we got this. I need someone that's going to be motivating, uplifting, keep me in the match when things get down. I just think it's very important to feel like no matter what's going on, that your partner still believes in you. And when you lose that, it's over right there. So just remember that you invited that person to play in this tournament with you, thinking that you were going to do well. And no matter what happens, keep that mindset of we can still do well, because it's not over until you lose the last point. All right. And then you can go back and you can watch footage if you taped it, or you can talk about what happened and try to get better, because we learn more in our losses than we do in our wins. And, nobody wants to play with an asshole. So be kind. That's it. Boys, I appreciate y'all coming out. Dave, you like powered through some heavy traffic to get here. He's a legend. And next time we'll send the Pickle Pulse helicopter out to get you.
Hey, I like that. Buy some t-shirts, please.
Hit that subscribe. Let's go.
Yes. And until next week, peace, guys.
Take it easy, guys.